This is Richard Nikoley, freetheanimal.com, and hopefully relatively quick and short video. But I did one after the Chauvin verdict some months ago, the last show trial, and now there is the Rittenhouse verdict. The bottom line is that the juries got it right both times. I did a video about Chauvin because I thought that the political right, wherever you are on that spectrum, um, not as bad as this. I'm not going to say that, but misguided in the way they characterized the trial. And I'll explain. Uh, and now in the Rittenhouse trial, the left did the same, the political left spectrum, um, in the same way, but far worse. I mean, because you're dealing with people where their hearts are generally in the right place, they're just a little bit misguided. Maybe they aren't. They have the answer right, but they don't. They're not saying. They're not getting the correct reason why. Whereas the left are just parasitical vermin who should get a visit from biblical Noah um, in the way they do things. All right, so let's go. First of all, let me recap Chauvin, and I did a video on this before. I'll link it in the video. But the deal there for me was very simple, and that is it doesn't matter whether uh, whether Chauvin is generally good cop or a bad cop. Doesn't really matter because you have the facts of the case. That's all you should look at. What happened in that space of time? Similarly, for George Floyd, um, yes, I believe probably not a great dude. Doesn't matter whether he's a saint or a demon, right? It's what happened in that specific thing of time, and what everyone wants to do, whether you're politically right or politically left, is either uh, deify the the alleged perpetrator or victim, whatever the case may be, and the and on the other side, the defendant, uh, he is demonized or glorified. It has nothing to do with it. This is not objective thinking. This is why the law and the court system and the procedure in court and the rules of evidence and the rules of it serve to sort of dismiss everything except the damn facts. But neither the right nor the left can do it, right? So in the Chauvin case, you know, it pushed back for the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, defund the police, et cetera, et cetera. Against chronic criminal drug user, whatever he's done before in his life. So it's an ideological battleground in the media for the right and the left. But the trial should have nothing to do with that. The facts are this, and this is objective, and this is why most people on the right were wrong about this. When you arrest somebody, you have taken away their essential liberty to see for their own safety, well-being, survival, right? So that's what the cops did there, or Chauvin in particular, right? I do not believe that Chauvin intended to kill him. I do not believe that the reason for his death was because of being choked with the knee on the neck. Uh, George Floyd was an outlier, big fucking dude. Big fucking black dude, right? I doubt little Chauvin, even if he had sat on his neck, could have choked him because of that. So I don't believe any of that either. What I do believe is that it was probably, like I think the the forensics or autopsy or the what would you say that the pharmacology, the testing, right? The blood testing, post-mortem blood testing showed that he probably had an overdose of drugs. So he was in medical distress. Now, it doesn't matter whether the drugs are legal or illegal, or it doesn't matter. It does not matter if you are honest and objective. The fact is that even if he would have died anyway, no matter what, is that as soon as they say you're under arrest, you become responsible for his well-being. If you don't want to take that on, don't arrest people, right? Especially someone who may be a drug overdose. Now, you know, here's the thing: if it, the right said, well, he didn't choke him because the guy was saying I can't breathe even before they like got him handcuffed and on the ground and all of that. Okay, well, you just shot your own argument, because at that point, the right thing to do would have been to say, all right, is to call medical help immediately. Had he done that, medical help immediately, then to do the best they can to calm him, stabilize him until medical help arrived, even if it would have been futile, even if the guy would have died anyway. At least Chauvin would be a free man right now, but he didn't, right? And the right bought into the thing of like, oh, he's a bad guy, and we have the police are protecting society, and you can't defund the police. Blah 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 blah. Fuck off. Fuck off. Use your brain. Be objective. Be honest. Have some integrity. Right. So, the police are. You don't get to. You don't. So the proper verdict in that was either like complete reckless endangerment, negligent homicide. I don't believe it was intentional, not for a second, right? I'm sure Chauvin, in his heart of hearts, probably regrets the result of this, and not just because of his own curtailment of liberty. All right, so now let's move on to Rittenhouse. So, again, the ideological battle. Now, I believe the jury verdict was there, and I think the jury that all those hicks up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, who deserved to have their businesses destroyed and whatever because guy pulled a knife on his girl and baby, whatever the facts were of that sparked the looting and the rioting, with looting being you've all seen the video footage, any pretense to riot so they can break down and loot, because that's the kind of scum, vermin, parasitical people you're dealing with. Draw your own conclusions about race and culture, and I'll know what you mean when you think it. So anyway, the ideological battleground here was that you've got a white supremacist, and he's defending his village, so on and so forth, and the other side is that, from the right is he's a hero, he's defending his village and so on, and it was total self-defense. It was self-defense, right? But come on. And even though it was legal, and that's why the prosecution just totally fucked this up in hilarious ways that first year law students should be able to laugh at. But like sitting before the jury, who are from Kenosha, Wisconsin, mocking sort of. Oh, they were just burning some shit and knocking. They were just shitting all over your town. But this white supremacist came in with an AR-15, blah blah blah. You've all heard it, right? But on the right, the counter argument, was he's a hero, and then they try to you know they what's the word the Catholics use when someone becomes canonize. They try to canonize a guy who was convicted like for four raping in the butt of 5 to 9 year old boys, and that's your hero, right? It's hilarious, right? And then whatever, and then their own guy said, "Yeah, I pointed a gun at him," right? It's hilarious stuff. But the thing is that I don't, there was plenty of sound um, legal analysis on the case, on this show trial, on the YouTube clips I saw on Fox, and then clips of other stuff that they show on CNN and MSNBC. It's quite hilarious, right? But I think the jury here, because the right thought this was so open and shut, um, self-defense, and indeed I think it was, right. But they still took like 25 or 30 hours of deliberation. I think that served a lot to kind of take a lot of wind out of sails, if you know what I mean, right? So there's protesting, but I don't know that there's been that much violence and rioting in the streets, which is a good sign because ultimately you actually have politicians who are obviously disappointed that there isn't rioting, looting, and burning in the streets. Seriously, really, they're like, "Fuck, the jury pawned us here." Right. So I guess to sum it up, Derek Chauvin verdict, good. Jury did the right thing, right job. Ignored the ideologues on both the left and the right, and the media on both the left and the right. And same here with the Rittenhouse verdict, right? I would say, kids, if you're 16 or 17 and you can legally bring an AR-15 to a riot, don't do it. Don't do it, right? Now, if a bunch of you go to defend your community, but to go like a lone wolf like that, what did you think was going to happen, right? Yeah, of course, I don't regret. He killed 2 fucking scumbags. Good. I love it. Right? I just don't. That needs to be more organized, so that you don't get singled out like you did here. And I hope you get some. Civil redress in this, like the guy did who stared down the toothless Vietnam War hero, or the refrigeration tech Vietnam War hero. But we live in interesting times because I don't know what I would do if I was a fucking parasite vermin leftist. What would I do? Like, you stop talking about shit, maybe, right? Oh, one little thing to close this up. I have a good American expat friend here in Thailand, and he lives in Pattaya most of the time, but he's been down here in Phuket for a few months. Back last December, him and I went to an island 70 miles off the coast for a diving snorkeling trip. Most awesome diving snorkeling ever in my life. Anyway, when I'm driving in the car with him, what's he listen to? NPR, of course, right? I don't talk about it too much, but so he got the AstraZeneca jabs, the 2, right? And he's booked tickets to go back to US for the holidays. He's lived here for like 20 years, but he's going back to the holidays and then doing a side trip to Ecuador before coming back to Thailand, right? So so even though he's vaxxed, I guess he still has to get a a test to fly, and so to even go back to the U.S. and he's a U.S. citizen, right? I'm not vaccinated, and I don't have to get vaccinated to go back to the U.S., but I do have to get a test, and I have to wear a fucking mask for 15 fucking hours on an airplane. So fuck off, U.S. You're not going to see me until that shit gets over with. Fuck the fuck off. So anyway, the he has to get his PCR test within like 72 hours of flying, right? Positive. Now he's locked up in a hospital in Phuket for 10 fucking days at huge fucking expense. It's gonna be like $10,000 by force until he tests clear and then he can fly to the US. I just wonder how long this kind of shit is going to stand, right? So bring it on. Bring it on. Keep doing shit like that. Destroy your economies. Make it to where people like me says, I'm like, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to lower my costs. I'm going to stay here as long as it takes until you fucking idiots get over yourselves. That's about all.